I wanted beads, and she said, "No, what?"
You can eat right now if we didn't tell you couldn't eat.
There's lunch meat. You can eat ramen. Yeah, you can eat ramen until the meatballs are done. Yes, what? We thought we put you in the vibe of. It sucks when you can't eat before going. Sorry, Justin just got back from the dentist. I know. That's just how they are. All right.
So for those of you, the music does come into play, and it is important why we're playing the music.
Which we do not own the rights to the music, by the way. Want to throw that out
we
there.
don't own the rights. The band that is playing is the Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yes! Love the name. That's freaking awesome.
Yes. Also,
Squirrel
I
Nut
love their
Zipper.
renditions of jazz music. I'm the kind of person who listens to jazz music, and I love their rendition of jazz music. It's real fun.
I'm looking for us. I'm trying to pull us up on TV too.
So we can read the comments easier.
Yeah. You know, if we ever do any other like Scottish stuff, we're gonna find Scottish music too.
Well, you see why I'm. It's important for me to play it.
I kind of like it. You have to send it to me. I'll put it on my playlist. So other than that, how's everybody doing? Seems like we've got a few people watching.
Yes. Hello to you all.
Yes.
Again, the music does come in handy. You'll see why.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, Ma.
All right.
Have to go to the channel.
Yeah. Jazz for you.
Please watch the camera.
Please watch it. Okay.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
I was told to
Get out
watch
of the camera view, you nerd. Get out of the camera. We can't.
On me, camera?
We can't see.
Moves on me, camera?
Please watch the cord cats. Why can't I find it?
I don't know. Type in your name.
Say my name. Say my name. That's not our song either.
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce's.
Destiny Child.
Good friend of ours.
No, she's not.
No, they're not.
That's not it. Look for our new face.
I'm looking for our new face.
There we are.
There it is.
I don't know why it always takes me 5 minutes to find us.
I know.
I mean, we're sitting right here.
We should have been bantering with each other.
Should have.
All right, we should have been bantering with each other. You'll see the dog here because she's being my emotional support.
Yes.
As she always is during these cases. All right. So I'm going to scooch over so John can be a little bit more involved.
It's fine. I'm here, folks.
What are you doing? Are you in it or not? I'm going to get cranky. Make up your mind. Are you in it or not? Would you stop? Okay. So all seriousness.
Are you coming? Are you going to be joining us for this or no?
I'm here for you, folks.
Okay.
All right. Come on in, camera view.
Oh, yeah. I look like shit today. I feel like shit.
All right. So, just like our introduction says, in the turn of the 20th century, a music-loving serial killer proclaimed jazz lovers would be safe from his reign of terror.
Okay.
So, it was May 1918, and it was the start of a series of brutal murders that would occur.
I can change that afterwards, Mom, because what happened, so you guys have a heads up, I don't mean to cut you off, is I forgot to put it horizontally. So I had to cut it the first time.
Yeah, we had to restart.
So, yeah. So
we are so
at the end,
sorry. Debbie.
At the end of this, when we are done, I will be able to go in and take it off of private and put it public.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So,
they can't see this right now?
No, they can, but when she tried to watch it, whenever the video is done, it automatically puts it to private.
Oh.
So nobody can see it. So I have to go in and change it to public.
Okay, so It was May 1918, and this was the start of a series of brutal murders that would occur until October 1919 when they suddenly ended.
What?
This is an unsolved case, and they never found out who the killer was.
What the fart?
So I have a list of theories of who this serial killer was.
So this is a. Don't help me. I will think. So this is a unsolved.
Yes.
Okay.
He's much like the Zodiac Killer. Unsolved. No idea who it is.
Okay.
And also, like last episode where we had a fun little letter, we also have a fun little letter in this one too.
Okay.
I'm going to enjoy reading it because I'm going to be real dramatic when I read it.
Should I scoot over?
No. So I'm actually going to give you a little bit of context. And I honestly, when I was writing this, I think we might have a little bit more of an understanding than most people after this time period. Because during the history, it was the last year of World War One.
I'm just, sorry. Watching ourselves on TV is pretty funny.
Okay, so it was the last year of World War One when
Okay.
things began in April of 1918.
Okay.
There was actually during this time period a screening of Charlie Chaplin's newest film, and he was actually in New Orleans in April to watch the finished film.
Okay.
So this was like the month before the killings began. This was also during the Spanish influenza.
Oh, nice. Let's just add to that.
Yeah, so the reason I say we might have a little bit of a better understanding of the fear and terror that was going on was because what was happening during the Spanish influenza kind of happened with COVID.
Oh.
So there was a time period that was like 12 weeks between so in between kills in 1918, there was a lot of people dying in New Orleans. And in fact, New Orleans was actually the epicenter of the Spanish flu.
Oh, okay.
So Spanish flu killed about 50 million people globally, and
Jeez.
675,000 people died in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So it actually started in military encampments, and the first known case was in October of 1918, I think. So while these killings were going on, the Spanish influenza started to kick in.
Oh, okay.
So this dude was killing right before the flu began and was still killing during it. They went into a makeshift lockdown, kind of like we did.
Hi, Angela.
Hi.
Maybe we should move the camera. Right there.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
They went into a makeshift lockdown. Business hours were staggered.
Yeah.
Train cars weren't allowed to be full. Stores would pass things through doors because they didn't want people to come into the store and infect people. Restaurants were empty, and gatherings of people were actually banned at some points.
Oh.
So New
Oh,
Orleans.
yeah, that does. It does sound like familiar.
Yeah,
as
it
COVID.
sounds familiar. And fun fact, I actually was doing a little bit of research into this, and during the Spanish.
Aw, so cute, Thomas.
During the Spanish influenza, there was actually they were told to mask.
Yeah.
And you would have a lot of people who they did not believe that masking helped stop the spread of the Spanish flu, and they would refuse to wear masks, or they would actually have the mask underneath their nose, even though they were told that the Spanish influenza could spread through like any sort of air travel. So there was like a whole anti-mask movement.
You two are so cute.
There was a whole anti-mask movement in
Oh, wow.
1918. So New Orleans had a second wave. Okay, so it wasn't in October of So in October of 1919, there was a second wave
Oh, wow.
of the Spanish flu that killed a whole lot more people. Okay.
Are you demonstrating?
Okay. So New Orleans actually had the highest death rate at the time with 4,000 deaths.
Oh, wow.
4,000
deaths?
Yeah, 4,000 deaths in just New Orleans. So it was wild.
What is with New Orleans?
It's coastal.
And I mean, I'm still trying to figure out.
There,
And it was like, during like this was one of those time periods. So during the time period the Spanish flu was happening during these killings, it was the end of World War One last year, World War One. There's a lot of things happening. There was also a lot of fun things happening during this time period.
Okay.
So that's all I'll say, because I'll get on to later in the show.
I like how she said there were fun things that happened.
Yeah. So there were 12 attacks in total that
Okay.
took place, and of those 12 attacks, only 6 confirmed to be dead.
Oh, okay.
So 6 survived. 12 attacks, 6 survived. But there was a whole skew of people who were almost targeted and almost killed that managed to get caught.
How can you almost?
Get killed? I'll explain why.
Okay. Or be targeted.
So he almost had one attack a month. People refer to him as a boogeyman. He was known for sneaking into people's houses and murdering them in their beds. He also did not use his own axe when he killed people. He
Did he have one? I'm gonna do it on a
Look at
Monday.
here.
I
They
got
got
one
an
for
axe.
Monday.
I'm gonna use that
No.
no, he would use the axes at their houses.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, this one is nice and shiny. Little dull, but hey.
I was
it'll
leaning.
work.
I was leaning more towards Monday. I gotta kill this person. I'm gonna use that axe. Nope. Then you got
Well,
Tuesday on.
if
down the
there
line.
was no axe around, he would use whatever he could find, and then he would just leave the item he would find. He would also leave the axes behind too.
DNA.
This what didn't exist.
Obviously.
They did have
You do remember
fingerprinting.
the generation we're talking.
Yeah,
about.
that's why she just
So they did have fingerprinting, but it wasn't something that like they really did. It was like, oh, we can fingerprint match, but we don't really do it. um, um, he also in one of his cases, he did use a straight razor to slice throats.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, that one was pretty brutal. To get into homes. So if John, would you mind moving the camera to face the door?
Sure, folks. I'm not sure how to do that, but sure.
Forgot your tide period. Yeah. No, just pick up the pot. Just pick it up and turn it.
So do you see that little panel, those small panels?
Yes.
Yeah, he would chisel them out.
Oh, okay.
And then he would go into the homes that way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Good job.
yeah, because so he would use the chisels from the houses as well. So he never brought his own supplies.
It's kind of smart and dumb at the same time. 'Cause you
Yeah.
don't want to have to carry
Also,
everything.
people left their chisels and axes outside of their houses for anybody to grab, which
And
why?
again, smart and stupid at the same time because you're leaving evidence. There's a cord, John. And a cord.
So also another thing, if you look at your door,
Ice breaking.
if you look at your door, those tiny slats, they're really small. So like not even like somebody who had to be super super skinny and super super small would have to
What are
squeeze
you
through those doors.
doing?
Why are you bringing a hatchet in?
To show an example.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
And an ice pick.
So those holes are like not even the skinniest person in the world.
Wood cutting. 'cause
Or
that's what they're for.
yeah. Or unlock the door with that. He also did not just attack random people. He wasn't a spree killer.
He targeted people.
He targeted specific people. You want to know who he targeted?
Women.
Women.
No, he went after Italian immigrants. But not just any Italian immigrants.
What did they do to you?
He went after Italian immigrants that own grocery stores or a store of some sort.
Did you get bad ravioli?
He also did not discriminate between gender and age. He did kill women and children, and he killed men.
That was Michelle's impression of
Yeah.
Italian. Why don't you tell about the one
No.
where you came to my daughter's wedding?
No, we'll do this.
Okay.
Would you stop? By the way, DNA testing started being used in our informationalist. Angela is giving
She
us
finds
the
all the
info.
information for
Yes,
us.
she finds all the info for us.
AKA Angel Angela.
1984.
I was 4 years old.
So, there is speculation that attacks actually happened earlier than 1918, because there were recorded attacks against Italian immigrants, specifically grocery store owners, in 1911, but they were never able to connect the attacks.
So, is there a reason why he was going after grocery store owners?
Oh, no clue. Because again, we don't know who it is. We can't find the reason.
Bad produce, just like Walmart.
Okay,
It wouldn't be produce; it'd be pasta.
Okay, I'm about to get into the nitty gritty. Okay.
No interrupting.
So the first known victims were in May 23rd, 1918.
The what?
The first known victims were in May 23rd, 1918. Joseph and Catherine Maggio. The location was 4901 North Mongolia Street. And the reason I mention the address is because supposedly it's haunted. by these two.
Oh,
They were husband and wife,
no
and they were
kidding.
just sleeping in their bed. They lived in an apartment above their grocery store that they owned.
Okay.
The bottom panel of their kitchen door had been chiseled out, and the door was open upon investigation. And it turns out when they were interviewing people in the area, no one heard or saw anything about this entrance. They
And
didn't
what did
see
they
anything
call this
weird.
filler?
They called him the Axeman or the Jazz Killer of New Orleans.
I like
Why didn't
Jazz
they-
Killer of New
Why
Orleans.
didn't they call him Chisel?
I don't know.
Field trip. Yes, Thomas, field trip.
Yeah, field trip.
That actually sounds like fun.
So this was an outlier because the door was left open. Most other cases, the doors were still locked on the inside.
You were saying I caught I caught something that you were saying. One, those little panels, they are small. So apparently, I mean, he ain't gonna fit through it. He or she's not gonna fit through it. So that means him unlocking the door because you said the door was unlocked and left open.
Mhm.
So
Well,
that
how
means
do you
he
know
had.
it's a he?
Well,
I said
if
she or
they
he. They could have reached up
they
and
could
through
have
the
reached
door.
up and unlocked it, right?
Yeah.
Or
That's a
maybe
theory.
They were just really skinny.
But remember, I said it was an outlier. Most of the times, the doors were still found locked when the police got
Can I
there.
just say doors then were solid wood, not hollow like now.
Well, we'll get to
Sure.
that. We'll get to that because these doors back in this area at this time were kind of like a little bit flimsier. And there's a couple of cases where he actually tries to chisel at people's doors, but because the doors were too thick, he just left
in the
it and he
pantry.
left the chisel and the axe right by the back door that he was going to use on him.
Okay.
So people would go out their back door and they would just see an axe and a chisel and they'd be like, "Oh my God, we were almost going to get killed last night."
Jeez.
That's because that's the first thing I would think.
Yeah. Well, no, because this was happening all around the time. He's
And
like, yeah,
because they
nah, too much work.
They
Exactly.
didn't have news at
Yeah.
that time. No one knew.
No,
except
no, they
maybe
did.
Wise.
Yeah, they had newspapers.
That's it.
Yeah, but people talk. This was also the Italian immigrant community, and Italian immigrants at the time were highly discriminated against. So they formed their own little communities, and they constantly talked to each other.
Yeah.
So, the murder used Joseph's axe on both of their heads, but that's not what caused their murder.
Oh, okay. What else could cause that?
It turns out that the murderer had slit both of their throats with a straight razor and then beat them with an axe.
Okay, that would help.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you ask me, that's just a lot of rage.
That's
That's overkill.
horrible.
That's
First of all,
wow.
how anyone can do that and feel no remorse or.
Okay, well, we
Yeah.
don't know. We don't know if the person felt
Yeah,
remorse or not. 'Cause we don't know who
we
it
don't even
is.
know who did
Well,
it.
they went on to do more, so I don't think the remorse.
But we
was
don't
there.
know who. Again, we don't even know.
Okay, so yeah, they sure they charge too much for groceries. But Jake and Andrew Maggio were
If you
Joseph's.
work for Walmart, laugh out loud.
Oh, I don't know.
Meatballs.
I'm sorry, I'm in charge of the burning meatballs.
Okay.
Well,
So Jake
you're
and
on the
Andrew
outside. Where'd you go?
Jake and Andrew.
Dang cats! All right, folks.
Sorry, the kid's been having a little bit of a.
That wasn't the kitten. That was Marie trying to kill John.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
So Jake and Andrew Maggio were Joseph's brothers, and they slept actually under the same roof. Jake and Andrew found them.
And turn it down.
So Joseph's brothers slept in the same apartment, but they were not killed. They were actually in their own rooms in the same apartment, and the killer did not kill them.
Oh wow.
Um.
You can remove it from the thing too.
So when they found the bodies, they said that Catherine's
way
head
it'll
was
stop doing it.
almost decapitated
You?
with the force of the straight razor. Joseph was not
Dude,
as
he had to
yeah.
literally.
Joseph was not as bad, but it was still pretty bad. He wasn't almost
You know
decapitated,
what
but
this kind of reminds me of? Sweeney Todd.
there's actually I literally have a little piece in it of things that it was inspired by the Jazzman, and there's an idea that Sweeney Todd was inspired by the Jazzman.
Because I mean, if you've ever seen the movie, it's a good movie, by the way, with Johnny Depp. He does a good job. And then Black Veil Brides, giving them a shout out.
Mm-hmm.
They do Bleeders is a new video, and he's dressed up as Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
And
No, that's fine.
No, that's fine. And so in the video, he's literally dressed up like Sweeney Todd, has the white hair string of hair, and he's killing them the same way.
Yeah. So
in
the
the show. I
Jazzman
was
does
like,
have a
"What?"
bunch of influence. Actually, if you guys watched American Horror Story Coven, there was that little subline with the Axeman where they found
Is that the
him.
Coven with the witches?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that one.
Yeah, he was in there too. But we're gonna go back to the story.
Mhm.
So Joseph's being slit by the throat was not as bad as Catherine's. He wasn't almost decapitated, but it was still pretty bad. Sadly, the brothers got blamed for this, and they were accused because how could they not hear screaming or anything? And just
Because they're gurgling on their own blood.
exactly. If someone's throat is slit, they're gonna die quickly, and they're not gonna make any
Yeah.
noise. Jewels and money were in
That's
plain
like a
sight.
gentleman.
Jewels and money were in plain sight, and they were not stolen, so stealing was not a priority to this person.
So it was it was just
It was just
a killing spree.
it was just a kill. I just want to kill something, and I've killed
You
them.
got high off of it.
Probably.
That's
So the
still good, though.
police found the axe that was originally Joseph's just left there, and they actually found a pile of clothes that were the murderers. He had changed clothes there after he killed them.
Oh.
So he either left naked or he had stolen clothes to leave in.
So I know Sweeney Todd's Penny Dreadful was from the
1870.
1879. I thought
Maybe.
Yeah, I liked Penny Dreadful too. That was a good show.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So he had either left naked or he stole clothes to leave. So reportedly, the killer wrote in chalk, Miss Maggio is going to sit up tonight like Mrs. Tony.
What?
No one knows who Mrs. Tony is. No, the police never figured out what that meant.
That she's
Okay,
related to
that's
Tony Pizzaglia.
that's a weird message to leave.
That is. It's very
Do they know who
giving.
is it like? Is it?
Well, they never found a Mrs.
reminding-
Tony.
It's reminding me
Who
of
was the
that
other
guy
person?
that was dancing in front of the mirror
Silence of the Lambs.
on Silence of the Lambs.
It gives very scatterbrained, very like in his own
Like
world.
he's
Oh.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first person that you named though, was that an actual person? Or
Uh,
are they supposed to be actual people that he wrote down?
well, that's the thing. They never knew.
Oh,
They never
okay.
found Miss Tony, but Miss Maggio was the person he killed.
Oh, okay. Pay attention, Michelle. Okay.
Okay, so the straight razor was found to belong
Yes,
to
we actually know that the original
Sweeney Todd.
Penny Dreadfuls
Penny
were
Mm.
adult Sunday comic sections in the United Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're not
they
wrong.
weren't here in the United States. I don't think. I think it was only in the United Kingdom. But there also was a TV show, I think through, I may be wrong. One of the
Showtime.
Was it Showtime?
Yep, it was
Which
Showtime.
Was Penny Dreadful, which is outstanding.
Yes, it was so
It
good.
was cut short.
Which is horrible.
Also,
it.
if you like if you've ever been interested in a really cool depiction of Santa Muerte, beautiful description, because every time any show or movie portrays Santa Muerte, usually she's like this bloodthirsty, out for blood. I just want to kill. Meanwhile, this one's like, I just got a job to do and I just got to collect souls. I don't want to be involved in this. It's very much a mother's presence.
And what is it again? I'm sorry.
The Penny Dreadful, I think it's like, she was amazing. Thank you. She's very much like a mother figure, which a lot of Mexicans who pray to Santa Muerte view her as a mother figure.
Oh, okay.
Is this the lady that took her children to
No, that's La Llorona.
Yeah, we'll
Different
talk
person.
about that one later.
So basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So
She is a mother.
so remember how I said they blamed the brothers? They blamed actually they blamed Andrew in particular. And that was because the straight razor belonged to him. He had a hair salon, a barber shop too.
La Llorona.
Yeah, she scares the shit out of me too.
So Angela's saying they're talking about her.
So the straight razor. Well, that's because you weren't raised on the story that she'll take you if you step out of line.
I thought it was children. She takes your
Yeah, if I was raised on she was going to take me if I stepped out of line. She's still kind of scary. She's the boogeyman.
That's Bobby.
Yes.
So basically, Andrew. So Esteban Torres said that Andrew had removed the straight razor from his own shop 2 days before the murder. saying yeah. Um saying that it needed to be fixed because it had a nick in the blade, meaning it didn't work as well. So because he had been using it so much, there was a nick in the blade.
Well,
They
you,
had to sharpen it. So when they had used the blade, whoever used the blade, the blade was like as sharp as it could be
well, you think
because he had
about it.
just had it fixed.
When you're literally slicing someone's neck,
Mhm.
there's also bone,
Mhm.
so that could have made the blade also go dull because of
Well,
them
this was
trying to.
before. So the blade that was found was
Hi,
Andrew's,
baby.
that he had taken out of his shop 2 days
Okay.
before the murder to get sharpened.
So then they're looking at that like, oh, wait a
I
minute.
think it's probably him.
Okay.
Andrew found them actually
Ow.
2 hours after the killings. He said that he heard weird groaning from their room, and so he went to go check. He said he was super drunk, and the reason he may not have heard anything because he was wasted came in super
Bastard.
late because he was actually celebrating joining the Navy.
Oh, okay. For you.
He was arrested, but they released him because there was no evidence, and they also said there was reports of a strange man walking around the area.
Oh, okay.
So they realized it was not him.
Mm.
The next victim was a grocer named Louis Bessemer and his mistress, Annie Harriet Lowe. They were attacked on June 28th, 1918. They discovered Lois was severely injured, but Annie had taken the brunt of the attack. She was way worse. Again, the woman seems to be getting the worst of it. They had been hacked in the head with an axe. Some thought it was a baker who delivered bread in the morning. He usually delivered around the same time, and he was the one that actually found them.
Oh, okay.
He knocked on the door of the grocery store and no one responded. Then he went to the place where they were living. So, because again, they lived above their grocery store,
Okay.
and he saw the bottom panel of their bedroom door had been removed. He left the chisel behind again, and a bloody axe was left behind in the bathroom.
Okay, I do have a question. How the hell did they not hear him chiseling at the door?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Both Lewis and Annie survived their wounds.
Probably. Said his mom didn't obviously buy him his favorite foods.
Yeah. He left the chisel
Ow.
behind. So both Lewis and Annie survived their wounds.
Dang, Willow.
She said that a large white man with a hatchet attacked him, but then she said it was Lewis who attacked her.
Oh.
They decided not to listen to any of the testimony given to by her, because there was a bunch of damage done to her head. So one story says she was paralyzed in her face and she wanted it fixed. And so she wanted it fixed, so she went under for surgery and she passed there.
Oh.
She passed 7 weeks after the attack.
Oh.
They did facial and reconstructive surgery.
It's not that they did facial reconstructive, they were just kind of messing with the brain at the time.
Let's move the
Pretty
brain
kitty.
up. She's dead.
This is Willow. This is my sidekick that doesn't leave my side and has separation anxiety when I go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the baby Willow.
And I'll be laying in bed and I hear this
Yeah.
when she comes in.
She's a mama's girl.
So the third victim is weird because there is actually no first name for this victim. They just refer to her as Mrs. Edge Snyder.
Okay.
She was attacked August 5th of 1918. She was pregnant.
Oh.
She woke up in the middle of the night to a figure leaning over her. She screamed just as the axe came down on her face.
Oh, yeah.
Her screams woke her neighbors and they found her unconscious. She was severely bashed in the head. And she was also missing a lot of teeth.
Unconscious or dead?
She was taken to Charity Hospital upon investigation. The axe that they owned was missing, and a week later, she gave birth.
Oh, good.
She survived that?
She survived that, and she gave birth to her kid.
Good.
What? Okay.
Most people think at this time the husband was at work, so he was not working. He was at work. That's why he was not there. Like I said, there were 12 attacks and 6 people died. So we have 2 deaths.
What the dude? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Joseph.
Well, again, if an axe hits you in your face, it's not. If it doesn't strike your brain,
you could be safe.
You
yeah.
could be safe. I mean, even if it strikes part of your brain, it depends on what part of your brain.
Yeah.
It is.
Holy.
But like the fact, and it was also
crackers,
it had
man.
to have been a brutal hit if she was missing teeth.
Oh God, yeah, that and it.
That's what I'm saying.
I wonder if
Jesus.
he was not, if he was, and I know this is going to sound weird. I wonder if he wasn't hitting him with the sharp part of the axe,
He's hitting the butt.
but using the
backside.
backside of the axe to cause more damage. So Joseph Romano was attacked August 10th, 1918. So you could tell there's a 5-day difference. She was attacked on August 5th. He attacked him on August 10th.
Mm.
He was an 80-year-old Italian immigrant. His nieces Pauline and Mary, they heard him struggling and found him with a bashed head.
God.
The nieces said they saw the attacker.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
tell you, if the Italians ever find this dude,
Yeah, they said he was a dark, tall, wearing a dark suit and a slouch hat. Romano died 2 days after the attack.
Oh.
He was with it and then he slowly passed. So after his death, New Orleans went into high alert. August 1918, the New Orleans State newspaper said that armed men were guarding their families while police were seeing to solve the attacks. Extra police were put to work daily. They were doing shifts while families slept. So they walked around with shotguns too. So
Wow.
these men, so the Italians started literally, from what I remember, they started doing shifts. So because they lived in multi-generational homes,
Yeah.
one man would stay awake for 4 hours, everybody in the house would sleep, and he would be on the lookout. And then as soon as the 4 hours were up, he would wake up another guy. He would go on watch. That guy would go to sleep and he would watch.
So they would.
And they were all armed. They watched
4-hour
for
watches.
yeah,
Okay.
they watched their families. Everyone was armed. Everyone was on high alert.
Okay.
And this is when you get to the attempted attacks.
Oh, okay.
August 11th, a rumor began saying that the killer had been seen masquerading as a woman, which is weird.
Okay.
There is no evidence of this, but there was a story going around at the time. A man named Al Guerin said he found an axe and a chisel by his back door in the early morning hours. His back door had been damaged because the door was too thick to easily chisel. So the door was solid. So because it was so difficult, the dude just left.
Wow.
This caused a manhunt, but no one was found. On August 21st, a man was seen jumping over a fence, but after a quick search party, there was no one found.
Oh, wow.
Even after quickly being found, even after like immediately being like, this dude jumped the fence, everyone go on a manhunt, they couldn't find him.
Oh,
but
wow.
what if it was a she that looked like a man?
We'll see. Even after quickly being found, so in late August, the rear door of Paul Lobel. So the rear door of Paul Lobel's home and grocery was found chiseled through. No one was home at the time.
Our Lord said, "Let there be light." Bless you.
Dude looked like a lady.
So
Said
Paul
that out loud.
Paul Lobel's family was out. They were not in the home.
Okay.
And when they came home, they found their door had been chiseled through, meaning the killer had gone into their home, saw no one was home, and left.
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
Can't do McKellen today. Do you think
That-
people stay home? No. The person knew the area.
Yeah, then he knew the areas.
Yeah. If they're able to get away to where nobody can find them.
So the same day, grocer Joseph LaBeouf was said an attempt had been made to chisel at his rear door. He was awoken by the sound and scared the intruder away, but an axe was found on his porch.
Oh, okay.
The next day, another axe was found in the yard of Reck Nagel. He was a grocer, and there were clear signs of an attempt.
The sewers.
There was a clear attempt that had been made to chisel his door. September 15th, Paul Durrell had found someone had attempted to cut through his rear door, and this is the funniest thing I will ever say. A case of tomatoes that was pressed against the door had stopped that from happening.
Way to go, tomatoes! Save the day.
I heard that.
You solved it. It was the Ninja Turtles.
So after this, there was nothing. It went quiet for a little bit.
Oh, darn, because the tomatoes stopped him from doing it.
Yeah.
Way to go, tomatoes.
Catacombs.
She said, sorry, catacombs.
Oh, sorry.
Because she said the sewers, laugh out loud, and then she's like, sorry, catacombs.
So this was in like September 15th of 1918, right?
Okay.
So then, in March 19th of 1919, in Gretna, Louisiana, which is really close to New Orleans,
He must have been allergic.
Rose and Charles and their 2-year-old daughter, Mary, were attacked.
Oh my god.
So Rose awoke to her husband fighting the intruder. Her husband was badly beaten with an axe.
Jeez.
Rose was holding her 2-year-old daughter in her hands and was also attacked, and she was begging for mercy for the baby. And he hit the baby and he hit her. So she was begging, and he still. He killed the baby and he crushed
Oh.
Rose's skull. Now, it's not clear if the neighbors heard noise and went to investigate or a visitor that got weirded out when they didn't answer the door. But that's when the police were called.
So he's got a special place in hell, let me tell you.
Yeah. Rose and Charles lived.
Oh, wow.
Their 2-year-old daughter did not. The neighbors were actually suspected because Rose said it was them. The 18-year-old Frank Gorgano and his father, 69-year-old Orlando Gorgano, they were actually sentenced to hang, and Charles was adamant that it was not them. And Charles actually, they said it was not them, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Rose actually admitted that it was a false accusation, and she had accused them out of jealousy.
Oh,
Sure.
jeez.
Charles actually divorced her because of this accusation.
Yeah.
So the man was Italian. Yeah.
The two of them did not hang. Because the police agreed that there was only one axeman, not two.
Okay.
Because they
Well,
knew
makes
that
sense.
back then.
They figured because of the way that it was attacked. Also, Charles' testimony was that there was one attacker.
Okay, so
Rose
I'm a
was the
psycho
only.
killer, and I got two young boys that are in their teens. I'm be a killer. I teach them how to strike somebody with an axe. It looks very familiar. How would they know it's one person? They also think that on that one killer that you were talking about, the Zodiac killer, they think it was more than one person.
It's possible.
Although some guy came out and said it was his dad or his uncle.
Yeah,
grandpa or something.
there's still theories. They've never been able to prove it. So the Axeman. So after this, so the two guys didn't hang.
Mhm.
But after this, the Axeman wrote a letter to the Times Picayune. It arrived to the editor March 14th of 1919. Now, if you've heard the case, may not know a little bit about this letter. There were 5 murders up to this date. The killer dates the letter Hell, March 13th, 1919.
Okay.
There was a little bit of info written by the newspaper that said it was posted in New Orleans, and it was clearly easily red hand. So it was red ink.
Mm.
And that is similar to some letters that was received by the New Orleans PD during their investigations. We do not have these letters.
Oh.
So the theory is that he actually wrote to the police while he was doing all of this, but the police never released the letters. And because it's been so long, the letters are long gone.
Yeah, of course.
So here's one of the letter that most people who know about this case know.
Okay.
Esteemed mortals of New Orleans.
Whoa. Let's restart it. Esteemed mortals.
Okay.
Of what?
New Orleans.
Of New Orleans.
I'll read it.
Okay,
They have never caught me, and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible, even as the ether that surrounds your earth. I am not a human being, but a spirit, and a demon from the hottest hell. I am what you Orleans and your foolish police call the Axeman. When I see fit, I shall come and claim other victims. I alone know whom they shall be. I shall leave no clue except my bloody axe, besmeared with blood and brains of he whom have sent below to keep me company.
Okay.
Friends with Satan. That's where you're gonna go. Enjoy it.
If you wish, you may tell the police to be careful not to rile me. Of course, I am a reasonable spirit. I take no offense at the way they have conducted their investigations in the past. In fact, they have been so utterly stupid as not to only amuse me, but His Satanic Majesty. Francis Joseph, etc. I don't know why he said
I
that.
wonder who his satanic majesty is. Did he go up? Did he follow Satan? Did he follow one of Satan's minions?
No.
Was he, was he a Satanist, or was he just using this as an excuse for what he was doing?
We'll get there.
Oh.
But tell them to beware. Let them not try to discover what I am, for it were better that they were never born than to incur the wrath of the Axeman. I don't.
Educated man, if he did.
Write those.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is no need for such a warning, for I feel sure the police will always dodge me, as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all harm. Undoubtedly,
Oh, he's just
you Orleans think of me as a most horrible murderer, which I am, but I could be so much worse if I wanted to. If I wished, I could pay a visit to your city every night. At will, could slay thousands of your best citizens, and the worst,
Wow.
for I am in close relationship with the angel of death. Now, to be exact, at 12:15,
He's
and
met
he
Dr. Kevorkian.
and he puts in parentheses earthly
Some people-
time. He puts 12:15 earthly time.
Oh God. He put 12, 13 Earth and then Earthly time. with
Yeah.
it too? What? In the
On
world?
next Tuesday night, I am going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I am going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then so much the better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is that some of your people who do not jazz it out on that specific Tuesday night, if there be any, will get an axe. Well, as I am cold and crave the warmth of my native Tartarus, and it is about time I leave your earthly home, I will cease my discourse, hoping thou wilt publish this,
Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
that it may go well with thee. I have been, am, and will be the worst spirit that ever existed, either in fact or realm of fancy.
If he's a spirit, he's gonna rot in hell.
Okay.
He thinks he's all badass.
So I'm gonna.
And then he signs it the Axe Man.
You know, he's rotting in
So
hell
we
right
discussed
now.
how my brain works.
Yeah.
When I hear things.
It hurts.
So what? You see what that comment says right there? Keep that hatchet away from her. You might get it. Laugh out loud. But the part where you said that if he hears, and correct me if I'm
Mhm.
incorrect or if I'm saying it wrong.
You're incorrect there.
Shut up. I said incorrect.
Oh.
So from what I'm gathering, he's saying as long as there's jazz music playing because he likes jazz music, nobody will die.
Exactly.
Okay.
So he's saying, play jazz music.
You know.
Also, remind you, this is during the Spanish flu. So he's asking people to celebrate and get together.
Okay.
And then he basically get each other sick.
Wait. So he's wanting to spread the disease, the influenza, but he.
You could think of it that way. He's finding a way to kill without actually laying hands on them.
Hence why he's saying it. But if they
don't, he'll give them the axe. He'll kill them. So
is our other baby, Miss Marie.
the letter is where we get the name the Jazz Killer of New Orleans. At this time, people freaked out and they decided to, as he put it, jazz it up.
Pun intended.
Restaurants and jazz bands were a hot commodity and they were busy because no one wanted to be caught by the jazz killer. Joseph DeFina even wrote a song called The Mysterious Axeman's Jazz, aka Don't Scare Me Papa. Friends, which, fun fact, I have a photo here. This was the photo that they had put on the title. And it was, you can see the fear behind people's eyes. The whole entire artwork is the craziest thing.
Promoted this jackass from hell. Wow, he's a serial killer, so let's make posters of him.
And that song I was playing in the beginning of the show, which I'll play again, just so you could get an early vibe for it. Okay, we're gonna dismiss. This song. That was the song that was written for the Axeman. That's the song that was that covered.
Don't
Oh, wow.
scare me, Papa.
So
But these are the flyers that they put up.
no, so that
Or
was
just paper?
actually the cover art of
Oh.
the song of the record that they had. And you can see in this Michelle can post it onto Facebook because I can send her a photo of it. You can see in the photo there are literally people who are scared. The children are freaking out.
Yeah.
There's a lady looking out the door making sure, like.
So they're continuously playing jazz music just to keep that
Yes,
guy.
they are. That's it.
So,
Yeah.
friends and neighbors were gathering together to jazz it up when the time came. He had listed the city was in motion and it was popping during this time period. And from all accounts, even though he said that 12:15 on Tuesday night, right? They just played jazz all night. They just threw a party all night long. From night to morning, they threw a party.
Okay.
As New
For
Orleans
a
does.
serial killer. What a
It was so that they
message.
didn't get killed because they didn't know
Yeah.
if he was telling the truth or not.
That's
So
why
you're
they
gonna
did
live
it.
in fear.
But they did.
Nowadays, you break down somebody's door, you're gonna be greeted by a handgun going, bye bye.
No one was killed on this night.
We're all dead tired.
They were.
No pun intended. Dead tired.
So on August 10th of 1919, Steve Boca stumbled home with axe wounds with his skull, and he made it to his friend's home, 12 block home,
Thomas said
2 blocks away. His friend treated his wounds as best as he could, and the police searched Boca's house, and they found the telltale signs: a missing panel on the door, and an axe covered in blood laying on the ground. Boca lived, but he couldn't remember anything.
Oh, wow.
September 2nd, a druggist named William Carson fired several shots. It's been a long day. On September 2nd, a druggist. Frontal lobe damage. Yeah, frontal lobe. They had hit him in the head, and he stumbled home. On September 2nd, a druggist named William Carson fired several shots at an intruder who broke into his home.
Yeah, you spelled it right. Mom says maybe that's why they do Mardi Gras. She didn't know she spelled it right.
No, Mardi Gras is celebrated because that's a tradition that comes from France. It actually was started in Mobile, Alabama, and then it got really popular in New Orleans. It's a way of celebrating Fat Tuesday.
We'll do that later. Wait, did we already do Tuesday?
Yeah, we did. We did Fat Tuesday.
Sorry.
He left the panel of the door and chisel along with the axe at the home as he took off. So, like you said, he would get shot now. He did get shot at. Somebody did shoot at him. They did not hit him, though. On September 3rd, a girl named Sarah Lohman was discovered by concerned neighbors when she wouldn't answer her calls. She was 19 at the time. And when they found her, she was hacked with an axe in her locked home. She had a severe head wound and was missing teeth. The killer didn't come through a panel, though. And this is why also, do not leave your windows unlocked and open if you live on the first floor.
You heard it from Abigail first, folks.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. But okay. The killer didn't come through a panel through the door. He came through an open window.
Okay.
He attacked her with a blunt object.
I do have a question. The victims that are missing teeth, was it from the hit of the axe?
They don't know.
Did he pull teeth to make it?
They don't know.
They don't know. He attacked her with a blunt object, and then he attacked her with an axe. Lohman recovered from her injuries, but couldn't remember anything either.
Oh, wow.
So her neighbors found her.
You're not my boss. I do what I want.
Yes, ma'am. I don't even go on. Yeah, don't do it. If you know anything about a serial killer named Richard Rodriguez, please, for the love of God, just don't do it. On October 27th, 1919, the
boss of you, and I said yes.
On October 27th, 1919, the Axeman Um,
Please understand that we laugh, but it's not. We're not
Well,
laughing
shoot.
at the subject. We're
yeah,
laughing because our friends are on here that we try to put a little bit of humor into something that's so
Ow.
dark and black.
and horrendous.
But
Yeah.
please understand that this was horrendous. These were killings. These were innocent people that did not deserve this.
Well,
And
we'll
I
get
hope
into
that
the
man
innocent
rots
part
in hell.
because this one might not be so innocent.
Oh, snap.
And this one might be not to be so innocent. So the Axeman attacked a family, Mike Pepitone, and was killed in his bed. Pepitone's wife and 6 kids were asleep in the next room, and not a hair was harmed on their heads. His wife heard a noise, and when she came to, she walked to the room and saw a large man taking an axe and beating her husband with it. He had been struck 18 times.
Oh, geez, she sat there and counted?
Yeah. Yeah. I counted 1, ooh, 2, ooh.
I
3,
don't know how they
ooh.
know that.
Exactly. How would she know 18 times? Unless
He
they
was
counted
so
it?
bad there was nothing to determine what the worst wound was.
Oh,
The
wow.
wife said that he turned his head, there was blood just coming everywhere. So she said that she saw him hitting him, right?
Okay.
And you also have to remember there's different fear responses, right? There's fight, freeze, fawn. And it's
What was the
possible
last one?
fawn, which is
Fawn.
essentially you just in
Been
like
there.
it's kind of like freezing where you stay in place and you don't know what to do or you run and you hide, right?
Like
Mhm.
a little
Fawning is
deer.
yeah, like a deer in headlights. That's what fawning is. She said that when her husband, right, after she had been hit in the head repeatedly, right,
Yeah.
he turned his head to look at her and blood was just coming out of
Oh,
everywhere.
good God.
So that's a horrible thing to have in your head. Just
And
awful.
these
Yeah.
are horrible.
Yeah, but to
So,
have your husband who's getting like his head smashed in
mhm.
turn and look at you,
And then you
that's
just see the blood
horrifying.
coming from all the wounds that are on
Okay.
his face.
If I'm getting axed in the head and I turn and look at you, Michelle, what are you going to do? Please tell me you're going to run like hell.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
But
baseball bat
but
and
you
whack the guy in the
also
back of the head.
you don't know if maybe her flight response was because maybe she was thinking of I have 6 kids in the other room.
True.
If
That
I
is a very
run-
good
If I run to those kids, is he going to chase me and go to those kids?
True.
So
Not only that,
we,
her standing there in the freeze mode.
yeah,
Another
she
thing,
could just be like, I don't know what's happening. I've never seen this before.
not only that,
It's Mulan.
not only that, she's probably gonna sit there and be like, if I move, he's gonna know that I'm up.
Exactly, because it was dark at the time. So she was able to see a little bit, but she was like, if I so sheriff deputy was actually first at the scene and noted that $100 was left out and not touched. The police wondered why she didn't hear her husband scream, and she said she was a heavy sleeper. But what about the kids? Apparently, this one also it possibly could have been a hit from the mob. In 1910s, Mike's dad Pete had killed a man named Christina outside a building Peter owned and once leased.
Mhm.
Mike then moved into the home and business that was listed to Christina. Pete claimed that he shot De Christina from Mike's room. So it's possible that because he shot him from Mike's room, the mob thought it was actually Mike who killed him and Peter was taking the fall for it.
Okay.
But that's about it. So there's some debate whether it is the Axeman or whether it's just the mob making it look like the Axeman. But this was the last murder. And he was never seen or heard from again.
Oh wow.
He never killed again. Nothing happened.
So pretty much he just went on this killing spree, got his fill of it.
Well,
okay, I did what I wanted.
I
Or
have there
someone got him and did
or
the
there
same
there
thing
is
to
some there is some theories.
Okay.
So the first theory is the killer succumbed to the flu and he died from it.
Okay. Yeah, well, influenza.
Yeah.
him. The devil wouldn't let him die from the flu because he's a big badass demon. He can fly and he's so cool. What?
He was just one of the theories is he was just a no one and he died from the flu. And that's why he stopped killing.
Mhm.
A police officer said that it possibly could have been someone of higher influence who had like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of personality, where one version of him was an upstanding person, and then a Hyde that did all these things in the dark. A
Mhm.
detective said that he believed his alter personality could lay dormant for months, but when it went off, it went off. And if they had to kill someone, they had to kill someone.
Hard to control it.
Exactly. There's again the theory he was a supernatural being that wanted to cause chaos. He even referred to himself as a shadow. They were saying that this man was a large man and every
This is a shout out to Casper site. What does he call shadows? Shadow.
Um,
That's for sight fools.
people say this. Others say that it was a woman because they could women can contort their bodies to move through such small holes. I don't know about you, but I can't. I
can't
couldn't
either.
contort my body to fit through that.
I know I couldn't. There's no
So
way. There's
also,
no way.
this is also disproven because all of the victims say they fought a man.
And those are the ones that survived.
Yeah, all the victims that survived said
Well,
they
I'm
fought a
going to
man.
go with that theory.
One theory, and this is a long shot because it was in Jack the Ripper was in 1818, so he was going to be kind of a little bit older by then, and also it's a complete switch up from his original killings of
So he didn't kill that way.
prostitutes.
But he also didn't kill that way. Jack the Ripper used
Yeah,
cut you from here roughly all the way down. To here.
slit throat then down.
Yeah, I know. He was more precise.
Well, the
We'll get to that one.
reason that they say this is because in one of Jack's letters, he also wrote that he was sending a letter from hell. And it's also possible that Jack the Axeman was like, "Ooh, that's a nice little touch from hell.
Okay.
I'm going to put it in my letter." Like, it's possible. A member of the circus.
Yeah.
Because the last murder, there was a circus nearby and there was a bolt and heavy.
Bye, Debbie. Thank you.
I have to get back to
Tell
work.
Justin hi.
Bye, everybody.
Okay,
Love you.
I love him.
There was a bolt and heavy nut,
Will do,
something
Mom.
that's
Love you too.
usually used to secure a circus tent.
Yeah.
That was found in by the last victim's home. So they thought maybe it could be somebody who worked in the circus,
Oh, okay.
which would explain why he stopped, started, stopped, started. And then the last theory is the more likely theory. So, more than a year after the murders had ended, a man named Joseph Mumfree, a New Orleans resident, was shot to death in LA by a woman named Esther Albano, the widow of the last victim.
Oh, okay.
The police started to work the case, and there was a couple of coincidences. Mumfree was a leader in a blackmail scam that targeted Italian immigrants. He also had been sent to prison in 1911.
Ooh.
So remember, there was supposedly attacks on Italian immigrants that they thought could be him, but they couldn't connect it to him.
Huh.
And it stopped in 1911. He went to prison in 1911.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then was paroled in the summer of 1918, right before the murder started up.
Oh, okay. I believe Aaron
Hmm.
Kaminsky has been.
Yeah, they found DNA. They found DNA on Jack. They found who the Jack the Ripper is.
Well,
We're definitely do that.
Ruin it for everybody else who didn't know that.
We're doing that story later.
Down
the line.
So after the last murder, Mumfree left New Orleans and there were no axe murders. And then after he was shot, there were no more killings. Richard Warner, a scholar, said the main suspect was a man named Frank Doc Mumfree or Louis Joseph Mumfree.
Wait, Angela, you have a favorite serial killer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a favorite serial killer too. His name's Edmund Kemper.
That's great. Glad you guys like
Sticks
people
my
that
tongue out at you.
It's not that I like him. It's just there's something so weird and quirky about him.
Just like
that.
Just like my favorite.
They have chemical imbalances.
Just like my favorite stories are the ones about the freaking bayou in New Orleans, and I don't know why.
It's just a thing.
Yes, it's fascinating.
Exactly.
Angela, do you take blood showers where you like?
Oh my God.
Okay. So there was a main suspect in the killings was Frank Doc Mumfree. Or Louis Joseph Mumfree. It was Joseph Mumfree, the guy who had been shot in LA. So their main suspect was this dude.
Okay.
Criminologists said that the killer only killed men when they were blocking the way to get to women.
Oh.
So that's why it was always so brutal on the women compared to the men. Why the men seem to survive quite a bit, and why the women just seem to be
Colts. Yeah, we know. I think we've talked about that too.
They're really like attacked him really heavily. But I found that to be really interesting that this man was shot by the widow of the last victim. And a lot of people say that it's possible that either she saw him in LA, that she moved to LA, or she tracked him down and hunted him down.
Or maybe they had a relationship. He killed the husband because he wanted to be with her, and then she realized what a psycho sicko he was. She went and shot him.
That's possible.
That's a theory. Yeah.
So notable places have portrayed the Axeman of New Orleans is American Horror Story. They do a little tidbit where he comes to kill the witches because they're not playing jazz music. And then
So
they
that
catch
makes
him.
sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
so then they catch him and there's that whole spiel. And then there's also the talk that the Axeman helped inspire Sweeney Todd. I'm not sure if it's true or not, especially when it comes to the razor blade.
That just right when you said razor blade, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like Sweeney Todd because
Yeah.
I watched the movie of Sweeney Todd with Johnny Depp and the lady from Bellatrix
Mm-hmm.
from Harry Potter. It was good. I was a little like, okay, I don't know if I want to watch
Everybody
this.
who's watching, please subscribe. Please give a thumbs up.
Hit the notification bell to get
It
notified
doesn't
of us.
cost you anything. We do this. Actually, Abigail and Michelle do this. I'm just a sidekick. But Abigail puts a lot of time into these things, and so does Michelle. But mostly Abigail. Sorry, Michelle.
Oh
But,
no, we're gonna be taking turns doing stories, but she just knows.
She has worked very hard on getting me
Yes.
this type of information. And if there's any questions you guys have, please.
That's gonna be on episode 11.
So on episode 11, we are going to have a Q&A.
Oh.
So
Where
we're going to
they
have, so you guys, if you have little questions about the cases we've done, you can go ahead and pop on in.
Yep. And then turn around at so we've been discussing. We actually went through and we've already done
Like all the cases up
all the
until
cases
November.
up to November of what we're going to be doing. And but
I will say a lot of it is murder.
yeah,
A lot of them are murder cases. But I will say there's a couple in there that we throw. I will warn you. I think it is in late July or it's sometime in June. We are doing a case that is going to be 2 episodes. It is one of those cases that 2 hours isn't even enough to cover what was done because it's a story of how 2 horrible people did horrendous thing. It also takes place in Scotland.
Woo!
So, yeah, shout out to Scotland.
Scotland.
There you go again, Michelle. With your
It
native Scotland.
I will tell you this, when I first was looking at the cases of these people, I almost threw up in my mouth. It made me stop.
So is it the one with the couple?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
couple
Couple of
horrible people.
wackos.
I'm just like,
I wouldn't say
Terrifying.
you know how you said that this person is going to be rotting in hell?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure these people are Satan's right hand man. Because of how horrible they
There
are.
is no right hand man to Satan.
Yeah, you will question that idea. So
we're also doing some in July as well. I mean, we have our little calendar that we're writing
Yeah.
on too, but also in July because it is the anniversary of 70 years of Disneyland. I'm also going to do a little
spiel on
spiel on that. And then also I'll do a spiel in December on Walt himself. As after he passed away 10 days after his birthday. He just turned 65. So I will do a spiel on that. October is I love October.
We're starting spooky season all the way in September, and we're starting it. Fun fact: my birthday falls on one of the days we film the podcast, and so we're doing my favorite killer on the podcast.
And
We're doing Kemper on my birthday.
We might even bring you. Was Ichabod Crane a real person?
Ooh.
No, we're doing
Sleepy
vampires.
Hollow.
We're doing. Oh, I wanted to do a Sleepy Hollow one. If we're able to, yeah, Sleepy.
We'll see.
I like Sleepy Hollow. Plus, we are doing a thing on vampires.
Yeah, we're doing a thing on vampires. We're doing a thing on the witches. We're doing the Salem witch trials.
We're gonna have.
We're doing also Half Hanged Mary.
What about werewolves?
No, we're not talking about werewolves. They're not scary enough.
Yeah. Not
Oh, really? Have you met a lichen?
Let's see. What else do we do? I mean, we'll go over. We can.
Very few people might understand this, but all the girls who read, they're not really scared of werewolves.
So you meet one.
So what we can do?
No.
We can actually post on. So we do have we don't have a Facebook page, but we should make one.
Yeah.
We can do a Facebook page of A&M podcast because I have one for J.A.M's Adventures.
Yeah.
Which, if you guys noticed, that we have a new logo for our thing, and for this podcast, so it's a brand new logo that I came up with on design.com. And if you notice on the J&M's page, well, the whole channel is J&M's.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a new logo as well. But our little thumbnail, you guys will notice, has changed because I fixed that. So each season, I'm going to take and change it out with something else, a little spooky or whatever it might be for each thing. But we can also take and maybe just even doing a post on YouTube. Okay, this is what we're going to do this month. These are the stories. If it happens to change, we will let you guys know
Yes.
that it had to change. Um, I do know I wanted to do a story of John Lennon also for December because that happened 5 days after, no, 5 days, 5 months, because I was born in July. Yeah, he was shot. Beetle.
Yeah, I know.
So
But also, so we're gonna do that. But also,
we were talking about the Q&A. That's what I was trying to get
yeah,
to. We just went on
Q&A.
a tangent.
We're gonna just have a Q&A every 10 to 11 episodes where you guys can ask questions about any previous cases. If you find something really interesting that you want a little bit of knowledge on, we can go ahead and look it up.
Or if you find any information that you want to share with us, then we can kind of enlighten
Yes.
about it and talk about it as well. But we figured we want to kind of break it up between that many episodes.
Yeah, so it's a little bit.
It's not so draining, especially for this one here.
Yeah,
Because there are times that, and I know that there might be a time that we may not do an episode, that we might just take a little breather or something like that. Should I stop being the encyclopedia? Laugh out loud. No, you're
keep
good.
it up.
We like the fact that there might be something that either we miss or that you may know a little bit more on that we don't.
Exactly.
That we didn't. Neither one of us found.
Handy.
Yeah, so it does come in handy. So no, you are the encyclopedia moderator for the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Also, I just wanted to discuss. Do you know on May 7th they're going to have the conclave to start the conclave to determine who's going to be the next pope?
Are they?
Yeah, so it's going to start on May 7th. And the reason they're starting it so late is so that all the cardinals can get to know each other, so that they can have all of them could have a fighting chance.
Well, I give my prayers out to the Pope and any of his family.
Also,
it's such a tragic thing that
happened. His family was.
Yeah.
And I hope that he knows that he's going to go to heaven, and the heavens are rejoicing on his entry, and God bless him.
Also, I will say, it was actually, for those of you who don't know, who may have been freaked out by the sight of the Pope, it's something called Mortis Memorandum, I do believe it's called, where basically they lay the dead body out.
Thanks for joining us, John.
They lay the Pope out for a couple of days, and he just sits out there. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's really morbid. That's the Catholic Church. I hate to inform you, but being morbid is a part of the Catholic Church's culture. I'm just saying it is.
She's stating fact.
I mean, we have saints that we keep that have not aged or rotted or decomposed. Yeah, I also feel bad for Sister Genevieve. She was so close. She actually broke the rules. Sister Genevieve was like his bestest friend in the whole world.
Aww.
She went into like a place where only the cardinals and the bishops were supposed to go to mourn him. She stood there. She walked over to where there. She's not supposed to mourn him, but she walked over there so she could go ahead and be closer to him and mourn him.
Aww.
And be in the quiet.
That's nice. I mean, at least he had a friend in thought. I mean,
yeah,
he had a friend.
Apparently, his last words that was recorded by his caretaker was, "Thank you for taking me out to see the people." Essentially, thanking for.
He asked.
Yeah, they let her.
Oh wow, he asked for it. He asked
Also,
for her to be able
before,
to.
yeah, and remember how I said that he had put a female governor over? He did it right before he died. It was one of the last things he did
Smart man.
in office, which was really, really cool.
Hey, can you go hunt? Just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. Sorry.
I will give you guys the heads up. We
said
are
that
going to
quietly.
talk about like Libertarian Party next week, because we're going to be doing the Silk Road, and that is really important to why the Silk Road was built. And we're also going to have a little bit of mention of Trump near the end when it comes down to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we are doing the Silk Road, the dark side of the internet.
So please remember, it is
not political.
We're,
we're just stating
politics.
facts. We're just stating facts.
Stating facts.
I will say the Silk Road some of the funniest internet names I have ever heard of. I mean,
can't
I'm
wait.
sitting there and I was like, this man is so stupid. I was like, how did this man become
My
like a
internet
world
name is
grade?
Peanut Butter.
Like, I was like, how did he become like the number one, like most wanted criminal in the United States?
What he did.
Yeah, because what he did. But like, I was like, how?
Of course, it's a man.
Yeah, you will see. It is a wild case. A little bit boring in the beginning, I will say.
Okay.
But it does get like real exciting real quick. And then I know John is definitely gonna be in the red pill content. I've been calling it the Alpha Bros content. But he's gonna be joining us for that one. I will say, it is the most difficult one I've had to write, and you've heard some of the cases I have written about. This is one of the most I was literally sitting in the office typing one day and I said, I'm gonna throw up. And Justin was like, stop listening to it. And I go, I'm not listening to it, I'm reading it. And he goes, stop reading it. And I was like, I can't. But like it is
podcast.
it's for the podcast. But it is one of the most disturbing things I have ever written. It
Oh,
is some
wow.
of the most disturbing things I have seen. And I think because with the killers that we write about, right, that we
Yeah.
do the podcast on, we kind of are like, okay, it's a one person. There's multiple serial killers out there, but it's kind of isolated.
Yeah.
But with this red pill content, I actually discuss how it's also affecting like the younger generation of men
Mm,
and how it's actually changing some men's worldview on women.
mm,
And then I also do discuss statistics on crimes against women and the effect, the recent increase that has been happening. Um, and I will be honest, the United States hasn't really started studying any of the effects. The UK has. So a lot of my studies have been coming from the UK.
okay.
So
Makes sense.
they're on top of it in the UK, but when it comes to stuff like this, the United States is not, and I hate to say that.
I mean, it's facts.
They're not doing studies
They're
like they
not.
should.
No, they're not paying attention to. Oh, she probably deserved it. Type attitude.
No, well, wait till you hear what some. If you want, I can give you one quote.
No.
Okay.
Nope. Because I'd rather. Yep. Nope. This is why I said this is her. They.
Well, and that's the weird thing. Like one of them isn't even in the United States. One of them lives in Romania, and he was actually banned from the United States. He was banned from the United States because he's actually on trial in Romania
Wow.
for human trafficking, prostitution, all this other stuff, right? And he was recently allowed to come into the United States. His ban was lifted.
Oh wow.
And he is one of the worst. I will say some of them are lesser than others. He is one of the worst.
Okay.
Like I said, no, he flew here. He wanted to come back to the US and he was banned, and so they were like, finally they're like, you know what, yeah, you can come back. You and your brother can come back because they work together. And so he flew back to Romania because the Florida's governor did not want him back. He was like, I don't want you here.
Wow.
So
Well, I mean, he's going through a lot. He's going through that stuff in Romania. Why would you want him here?
and the fact he was banned. But he is one of the worst, and a lot of people know him. I mean, I was in 2020, I started getting his content, and I was like, who is listening to this? This is wild. And then I started hearing stuff that he was saying just in common like phrasing.
Oh wow.
So he's one of those people that you're just
Like.
yeah. And
So on that episode, I'm going to change the sticker to my brain going.
yeah, you also might get just violently angry.
Okay, that's good to know.
You're gonna get just violently angry. Also, there is a news article that literally came out, I think, a week after I wrote this because I wrote it way in advance. And
We're going to talk about witches, but that's later.
but
Might use the music.
a week ago,
Sorry, Willow sees herself on TV, and she's like, "What is that?" Do you see yourself on TV? Oh, Mama.
A week
That's
so
too
a week
funny.
after I wrote it, a news article came out about a woman who was dating men who got all their news from these men.
Yeah.
And so she literally wrote about their worldviews. And this is actually how I was able to get how it's changing men's views on women because she went on dates with them.
Oh wow.
Fun fact, one of the guys she went on a date with had actually previously threatened to kill her. Which she is like a badass for that. Like I couldn't.
Right. Willow, you're getting fans too.
Yeah, you have fans.
You got
You like your
fans.
fans?
You got fans, Willow.
She doesn't care.
No. She could give a rat's patootie.
Meanwhile, Hermione is.
Here, I'll do this. What is that? Can you see? Move your tray. You can see yourself.
Hello.
There you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to say hi? Want to say hi? Huh? You gotta sniff it. Hello. Oh. Hi. You're not gonna talk now, turd.
Trying to get her on camera.
Willow. Hey. Hi.
Trying to get cat ASMR up in here.
Gonna rub the mic. Honey. You silly girl. I want to hear you talk too. You talk?
I want to hear what you have to say.
What you got to say? Okay.
Just headbutts to the
Mic. Yeah.
But yeah. So I was a jazz man of New Orleans. Does that satisfy your New Orleans kind of kick for a little bit?
I think for a little bit. I don't know why. Just I've been in the kick of wanting to hear crap stuff about New Orleans. I don't know. I don't know why. I wonder if it's because I was watching a Discovery of Witches. I don't know if it has to do with that or I don't know what started it was the whole when we started this podcast
Mm-hmm.
and you were talking about different stories and then we were trying to vote and a lot well not a lot of people only a few people said the Bayou Strangler. I'm like something about that just seems intriguing. Like Angela was saying how stuff is intriguing. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that you have a favorite. It's not that you like the person for what they did. It's an intriguing story, and
Yeah.
that's what it comes out to. It's an intriguing story.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I always found Ed Kemper intriguing, simply because he has some of the most out of pocket quotes I have ever heard a person say. When I say out of pocket, I mean out of pocket, like out of pocket. Comes from left field.
Got her. She said it.
Nice.
She said mouthful.
But yeah. So so next week we got that. Then we have our Q&A after the red pill content, which is going to be a nice little break.
Yeah.
I don't have to type anything for the next couple of weeks, so
Yeah. Take a break and just do Q&A. I mean, we might do like a little bit of trivia too. We were talking about
doing some trivia.
doing some trivia where you like have to
Guess who said it?
yeah.
We could
you
do a
know,
serial killer version.
we could. And then come up with like little quotes and stuff like that of what was said.
That'd be
And
fun.
then that way you guys can kind of like playing along, but we can also give a little tidbit of the quote, like do the quote, who said it, give a multiple choice. Somebody gets it or they don't get it, it's okay. Thomas trivia. Oh no. Now, your name is all in caps there, dude. It's like, And so, haven't been banned yet, laugh out loud. But we'll figure out some quotes And it might be, the quotes might even be from the past 10 episodes that we've done.
I mean, I could pull a lot of quotes from a lot of the things.
Yeah, because I've only done one story.
You're done too.
I've done two. What is the other one I did? I know that.
Titanic.
Oh, that's right. Duh.
Oklahoma City bombing.
God. See what happens when you don't do this a lot? You don't remember what the heck you did. My kids don't let me play trivia games with them.
Um, but yeah, so we'll do a little trivia. We'll have like a little thing. We'll have like a little piece off to the side about like in case there's not a lot of people and there's not a lot of questions. We'll have like a little side piece.
You'll find something that's like a short little, like she's saying, short little
Yeah,
story.
and it might be like this most upcoming recent one will be after
You're
the
one of those students that you raise your hand before he's even done. She said she answers before the question's even done.
you know, and I'm not gonna lie, I was that kid too.
I'm that way as an adult. Did that in Popular Music of America. Play one note and I know what it is.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting in a room full of people that are a little older than you and that are younger than you and they don't know Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman, and you just kind of look around, it's like, none of you know this. What is wrong with you? Because they all listen to rap.
Yeah, no, my moment was I was in a class I think of like 200, and it was a weed out course at the U of A,
Ooh,
and
she
it
did
was
weed.
in intro to the criminal justice. Because those of you who've never been to college, there's these things called weed out courses, where essentially they make the courses super super hard.
Yeah.
Where essentially it's to make sure you really are interested in learning what you're learning, and it's not a I'm just learning this because I want to learn this because it's going to make me the most money. It's a I actually want to be in it.
Yeah.
So I'm in a class of 200. The way this class worked was we had 3 tests and 1 homework assignment, and that was our grades.
No.
And that was our grade. So based off of 3 tests and 1 homework assignment, right?
Yeah.
Everything was on this like the court cases. We had one section that was just all the different Supreme Court cases and what they were, how they went,
Yeah.
what the ruling meant, and all that other stuff. Let's just say he would be like, "Okay, tell me about this Supreme Court case." And I would be the only one being like, "Ah." I'd hear the first title. I'd hear the Miranda versus Miranda versus the state of Arizona issued to Miranda rights laws because you have to let them know that they've been arrested. And the different rules that you have to list that they are allowed to, the different rights that they are allowed to have as they're being arrested.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, terrible case. That man got to walk after what he did.
Oh, wow.
Because he was released with prejudice.
Something else to say? Nope, just a headbutt. Okay.
If you can't tell, I get really, really heated when it comes to Supreme Court cases.
So we're going to stay away from those.
Yes. Especially like ones that like set the precedent for like our like justice system as a whole.
But
But any other questions?
they went in pretty good.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad. Next episode might be a little bit longer. I think that one's like 10 pages.
Okay.
I think the red pill content is like 14 pages, but that's because there's just like a lot of like I like
Use your words.
bullet pointed the quotes because a lot of my thing isn't about what my thing is. I'll give you a little spiel about them, and then I'll give you a bunch of quotes that they said. And then I'll go on to I'll give
Unlike
a little
me,
bit
who
about.
sits here and reads off every freaking detail that comes up.
The reason I'm summarizing it because if I go into detail, as much as I hate to say, it would get political because a lot of them have tied their movements to politics.
You understood the hand movement?
Yeah, the the listing.
Not Ross.
That's
That's too funny.
but yeah, so
Okay.
it's gonna be a fun couple of episodes. I know definitely John is gonna be joining us for the red pill content because I would like to get
bullet points.
yes, because I would like to get his perspective on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially because he was born in an older generation and he has not.
He's old. I'm kidding.
But he hasn't, and he has not been like he's never seen this stuff before
Mm.
because he's not like the primary target.
Mm.
They target young men, young boys.
So Justin's age.
Yeah, they target Justin's age
His age.
and younger.
Oh wow.
So if you have kids on the internet, watch what your boys are watching on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
please.
We'll put if we have to, we'll put warnings up before we start.
Yeah, we'll
The
definitely have
video.
to put warnings up because there is a lot of mention of domestic violence.
Wow. And like I said, I will change. I don't know if anybody caught it earlier, but when you were when you were when you were talking about the fact that the dude hit the wife, the mom with the baby in her arms, and it killed the baby, and then hit the wife. I sat there and I went. I was like mimicking my little
Your little
my little emoji face. So yeah, so
yeah, that also. When I first read that, I was like, that is so sad. But then the fact that both of them survived.
yeah.
Granted, they did get a divorce because she falsely accused two people of murder, and almost got them hanged.
What the? I like that.
But that was real sad.
Yeah, the fact that she's trying to protect her baby, and then
And the baby ends up dead.
yep.
And especially also, yeah, one axe hit to a kid is gonna,
Well, especially that young.
yeah.
I can't even see these.
She put the shock face though.
Oh, well, I went away on my phone, so I'm like trying to look. Oh, this.
Oh,
The
yeah.
eyeball between the fingers.
But yeah, so all right.
You notice how old I am? I got to take my freaking glasses just to see what it is. God, thought putting it on the TV would be better. Still can't see it.
Yeah. But if you guys have
God.
any questions, you guys have any case you would like us to talk about, because I don't think we touched about we haven't. I think I wanted to do Jack the Ripper closer to
do?
Christmas
Why Christmas? He's it's supposed to be spooky.
because I want to set the scene
Down the
because
road,
his killings happened in the colder months of England.
This one.
It was took place in the colder months, so I kind of want to be like spooky Christmas theme.
Okay. Oh, we're also gonna do
Krampus. I have to change one of our things in October.
How dare you?
I know, but I want to talk about because October is Mexican Heritage Month. It's actually might be half of September, half of October. It's Mexican Heritage Month, and I wanted to talk about month. I
She had
wanted
the
to talk
shorts earlier.
I wanted to talk about Malinche.
Sorry.
And talk about her importance to Mexican culture. And if any of you have heard somebody being called September 16th is when it is. Okay.
That's my second son's birthday.
If you have heard somebody call a woman a malinchista, there is a reason they call her that. And I will explain in that episode why they refer to her that, even though she is purely a victim. And when I say purely a victim, I mean she is a victim. She was a child.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
I will give you that hint. She was a child.
I will probably forget when she goes to say that again.
Yeah. This one, yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you had fun because Thomas said this was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you had fun.
It's like getting.
His first murder was in August, so maybe we'll have to do it in August.
Well, it says September 16th, though.
September 16th is when upcoming cases.
Yeah. Just giving them a heads up of upcoming cases that we're going to
I'm pretty sure she's saying September 16th is when Mexican Heritage Month starts.
What does that say?
Malintinsin is her name, yeah. Also referred, I know the way I heard it pronounced is Malinche is how it's also pronounced.
Oh, okay.
There's two different, there's the Nahuatl version of pronunciation, and also the Aztec version of the pronunciation of her name, and then the Mexican version of the pronunciation of her name. Her name. She's not important in German history. Yeah.
Next is Independence Day and the first day of her. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Cuckoo.
Because she's actually really important to Independence Day.
Okay.
Well, kind of. Yeah. Well, yeah. Malinche is a tribe. Ah, okay. I must have gotten those two confused. It's her nickname. Okay.
Why are we doing podcasts if Angela's got all the answers?
We're doing podcasts
She's all
because we're sharing
sorry.
everything.
She's my face.
We're spreading the news. So,
that's
come
too
back
funny.
next week to hear about the
I'll
dark.
sit down.
No need to sit down.
You don't need to. I like the fact that you know this stuff because, again, it's something that helps us learn
Yes.
something that we may not have known. One time you need a special guest, Angela. You know what? If we figure that out and figure out how to add her on here, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Very fun.
Very, very fun.
Because that way, either she can come to the house,
Or
we can just add her onto the. I have to figure out how to do that part where
you add someone on.
where you can add someone on. I think I have to send you an invite. Camera shy. Oh, sweetie, I was camera shy, and
Sweetie.
I've gotten over it because I do this, and since I do this at my house, I'm more comfortable with doing this at my house now. So
Yeah.
it's more or less out in public. I don't like doing this.
Yeah. But if you guys have any questions, we're going to talk about the dark side of the internet, the dark web.
Dun dun dun.
No. I'm a little tired if you can't tell.
I like
No.
Dark Side of the Moon. Yes. Aussie reference. Way to go, Thomas.
The
You
dark
get bonus points.
the dark side of the internet.
I was gonna say
By
something.
the way, it's Bark at the Moon, Michelle.
So?
Not Dark Side.
So? Kind of like Aussie reference.
Wait, have you heard the song Ordinary by Alex Warren?
I was gonna say something that was gonna be totally inappropriate, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Okay, let's not. Have you heard the song Ordinary by Alex Warren? Well, he wrote a song and he wrote it for his wife, right?
Mhm.
And he talks about he's all like the angels up in the clouds, how the angels are envious of us now.
Mhm.
His wife thought he originally said, and the angels are jealous of how we pound. And so she was like, "Why did you put this in a song?" And he goes, "You thought I was referring."
Oh, to
He
her?
was so upset because he's like, "Why would you think I would put that in a song that our parents listen to?"
Oh, jeez.
And why would the angels that are
And
upstairs be?
we will
jealous
never
of us?
tell. We will
They
never
get
tell
downstairs.
what's in these cans.
I don't know.
I ain't telling you.
Yeah, there's not. I promise. It's just been a really long day. I sat here painting for hours.
Yeah. Well, Justin went to his dentist appointment.
Did not have a good time. But yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
All right, kids.
Okay, kids.
We're gonna go.
sorry about all the banter
Excuse me.
I will
and the
give that a
burping.
5 out of 10.
Only the second time I burped.
You know what? Next time I need and we need to get Sprite. We need to get like a whole bottle. Have you seen those like
I
where
ain't
you
doing
chug?
that. I'm
I'll
not doing
do it.
that.
I'll
Michelle,
chug it.
I'll do it with you.
No, I will probably be like the guy that got up and went behind her and burped and threw up at the same time. I'll see you tomorrow. Yes, I'll see you
I will
tomorrow,
see-
Thomas. Thank you, Angela and Thomas, for jumping on here. And we have 4 people total. We probably have more that were coming in and out,
Yeah.
which is nice. Thank you all. Again, remember to hit the
yeah,
Sprite. I don't want to do the Sprite.
I'll do the Sprite.
Yeah, we're gonna have a trash can right here just in case. but I see what you did. Lost my train of thought. Forgot. We're all
We'll be
excited
back
about
next week.
Sprite. Yeah, we'll be back next week, same time, same YouTube channel.
We're slowly starting to tell people at work that we have this podcast, and we're trying to get more and more people to watch it. So
I'd like to get T-shirts made
that would be so fun.
of both of our channels. Put them both on a T-shirt. So that
A&M podcast. So like have one we should do one with like a quote.
Or maybe we should do one with the pro.
business cards. See, business cards, that
Ooh.
design.com thing, when I sign up for that, they'll actually do business cards.
No, what was it? We were talking about the Bayou Strangler and we ran a rant about t-shirts.
Ah, crap.
One of them was like, what was
Because he
it?
took shoes.
the shoe killer, the shoe
shoe ki-
stealer,
the
or
shoe
something
stealer.
like that, or the hitting people with his wheelchair. Oh yeah, take away his wheelchair.
Take away his butcher. He don't need him. Take away his shoes. Don't need him. That's funny. We'll have to go back and listen to that one because now I can't remember what it was about. So yeah, make some t-shirts. All right,
Yeah.
because I can't think of it. But I know it was about a wheelchair and shoes because for some reason he stole somebody stole shoes.
Everyone connected the fact that they didn't have shoes, but the police were like, "That's not important yet, guys."
Obviously, it is because their feet were cold.
But you also have to remember he killed them in his own house, so he had him take off his shoes.
Which is okay. You're gonna kill me anyways. When the hell am I gonna
He
take my
wasn't
shoes
the
off?
shoe fetish killer. That's a whole
Take a
separate
car
killer.
sticker also. I have to see where I can go to get that made. That'd be kind of
That'd
fun.
be fun.
Do a car sticker. Says,
A&M,
don't mind me. I don't have my shoes on.
get rid of his wheelchair. He doesn't need it.
Don't worry. Take away my wheelchair. We'll think of some quotes and do that.
We'll think of some quotes. We'll go through our past episodes.
You're gonna have to because I forgot all the ones that we've done. Pretty much.
We have done the Oklahoma City bombing. We
Yeah, I
have
know that.
done the Titanic. We have done
Those two I know 'cause they
Katie
were recent.
Hawalka.
Also did Bayou Strangler. We also did St. Patty's Day
hmm
and the intro to us.
of Mardi Gras was also St. Patrick's Day, Mardi Gras,
Yeah.
and then the intro. Yeah.
So we actually done quite a few episodes.
Yeah. I think we also talked about the Katie Hawalka, how awful a person is when they the lawyers were like, was she even awake? She wasn't even awake. We don't have to pay for pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Monsters.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, guys.
But yeah.
But we're done bantering. We're getting hungry. We're gonna go eat.
Getting a headache.
Have dinners. And Thomas, we will see you tomorrow, sir, at work.
Bye.
But love you all. Thank you again for coming on here and hanging out with us with the bantering and the chit chatting and all the coolness and weirdness.
Because
So
it's going to get a little weird next week.
yeah, a little bit weird. Might get weirder while we're doing it too. So there you go. Or we're talking. Might go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No,
No.
we're talking about running down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, going down the rabbit hole of the dark web.
Yes.
The dark web. Dark web.
Bye, guys.
See you later. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Love you.